Where I live in Galloway, okay, it's the second largest amount of people that are laid off before the Taj. The casinos industry itself in this area and our union is like the lifeblood of the communities around here. You have housekeeping, you have busboys, they've built lives here, okay? They pay their taxes, they've gone on vacations, they go back to their countries. I just had my appendix taken out this July. My son had his meniscus done in April. My daughter's asthmatic. The one that you guys have met, she was born at 3 pounds, and that was $500,000 that, we didn't pay. That would crush us. Everything that they've done is because of our healthcare. Carl Icahn, he just destroyed our whole community.
His goal is always the same, to reap a hefty profit for himself. He's been successful, say Wall Streeters, because he's intimidating and relentless. He's been hunting down vulnerable corporate prey since the 1980s, when he was reviled as a black hat corporate raider.
I am not willing to give up my health care.
But Icahn looms large on the boardwalk here. He bought the troubled Tropicana out of bankruptcy and turned it around, and he holds the debt for the recently closed bankrupt Trump Plaza. Ask those workers to give up their health care too. Icahn also holds $276 million of the struggling Taj Mahal's debt, says he'll buy it, but wants millions in tax breaks from the city and state.
They've given us a 90-day warrant notice that they'll be closing due to financial situations. They've taken us to court so they could wrangle $14 million worth of benefits out of us, like that's going to save the company. What it is operated by Carl Icahn and hedge fund operators.
Trump Plaza closed down, the Atlantic Club closed down, Showboat closed down, Revel closed down. You got Taj Mahal, which is threatening to close down. All the casinos that shut down. Local 54 is out here giving them a Thanksgiving dinner.
They're saying, we're going to close if the union doesn't give us anything. Well, we don't have anything else to give. He's a multi-billionaire, and if he wants to keep the place open, he can keep it open with his money, not on the backs of the workers.
I graduated high school in 1980, and so the casinos had just pretty much got here new, and went away to school for undergrad. And when I returned, I began to see some differences in the city. What I noticed being in ministry, being called by God, I just saw our family-oriented city be overtaken by the spirit of greed. The forefathers of the city, they were looking for a seasonal city to become stable annually. So they wanted to get something that was a little more viable for our community, and some of the forefathers thought that gambling would do it. They ran into some opposition, but when it came, there were a lot of promises about rebuilding certain communities, streets, schools, infrastructure, different things like that, beautifying the boardwalk. And what has happened is, over time, it has changed from Atlantic City to Casino City.
My name is Michelle Jackson. I was born and raised in Lake City, so this is my stomping grounds. I had a son to feed. I had a newborn child. I was 18 years old when I started working at Bally's. And that's how I was introduced to Local 54 and the workforce, basically, because I was young. And that was my first job, and I fell in love with what I was doing, and I kept doing it.
Yeah, I'm a single mom. My kids are 24 and 21. One just graduated college, the other one's still in college. And yeah, I was able to raise them and put them through college being a cocktail waitress.
It's a big difference now than when the times that I came here. It was jobs everywhere. You could lose your job now, go to the next casino, and be hired the same day. Can't do that now. We don't have that now.
I didn't know how delicate it was until these past like 4 or 5 years where everybody wants to take everything from you.
You don't feel secure anymore like we used to, which is like scary. Where do you go after you've been here for so many years? My son was at Revel, you know, he's out of a job, he's looking for a job. They've had job fairs here, but there's, you know, how many people are looking for one job?
I was out of work since August the 31st. It was very depressing because we were facing 2 or 3 people of the family being now out of work again.
We leaned on each other when we had bad times. We laughed together when we had good times. We were like family, so it was hard.
It's like when you're a little kid, they take you to the ocean, you're building a sandcastle, you're so proud because you built your castle, and then a wave comes and just wash it all out.
The community needs to pay attention to this because our whole livelihood here, the welfare of this city depends on these workers getting the contracts they deserve. That was the promise that the casinos made when they came here. We'll give good middle-class jobs, jobs with health care, jobs with pensions, jobs that let people own homes, pay taxes, raise a family. I mean, come on, that's the promise. And, you know, they're taking the money and they're running to places like New York and building buildings instead of taking care of the community here. It's really very simple, I think.
But we gotta put up with the head there, you know what I mean?
Your brother sister union. Your brother sister union. What do we want? Contract. Where do we want it? Now. What do we want? Contract. Where do we want it? Now.
We're on our way to Carl Icahn's headquarters in New York to let him know that we want basically everything that they've stolen from us to give back.
I'm 47 years old. I've been working since I've been 8 years old. Come from a single. My mother raised 6 of us by herself. I've been working since 8, and this is the first time that I've ever had state assistance. I have to apply for welfare.
$2,000. I have no issue. I don't either.
Neither do I.
Are you sure you didn't get thrown out? She's up
My name is Alfred Kerr. I'm willing to take both the Monday dinner and the Sunday dinner. My numbers. Keep my fingers crossed, you know. Because it goes whoever calls first gets the work. Sucks.
Somebody who likes this one. The brother sister union. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now.
You have turned a workforce that would have worked hard to rebuild the Taj into your adversaries, and by your attacks on the health plan that we and our families rely on. You may be someone who came up through the streets of Queens. This time you aren't fighting executives with multi-million-dollar salaries and expense accounts. This time you are fighting housekeepers, bartenders, food servers, bell people, cooks, and cocktail servers. This time you aren't fighting for the little guy, you are fighting the little guy.
We can see your greedy
Many of the members of my church tell me that they were here years ago. They voted not for gambling. They never voted for gambling. They voted for jobs. We as a community need to pull together because this isn't just about a few jobs and a few casinos. This is about the health and the well-being of our entire community. We are brothers and sisters, interconnected. Our welfare depends upon each other. We need to stick together through all of this.
I stepped into Atlantic City and every worker that I spoke to had a message of hope. I don't know about you, this is not the end. And there are other people who are making decisions about what Atlantic City can become and what it will be. But as the Reverend said, we didn't vote for gambling, we voted for jobs. And I'm asking that every worker fight for a seat at the table. Listen, we can't sit down now. We gotta fight for a seat at the table. We gotta fight for a seat at the table. Because workers in the community, workers out of the union, workers in the community, workers in the pulpit, are fighting for a new direction. Somebody ought to lift your head and say, yeah.
When Dr. King was in Montgomery and they were doing the bus boycott, for 381 days, they did not ride the bus. And he said the reason it was successful is because we were together.
We're marching on the boardwalk tonight to stand together in solidarity and show him that, you know, we're going to fight. You know, you're not going to take this from us. He's in for it.
South Jersey people are a tough group. These people are fighters down here. They've been through it. We've beaten the casinos. Every contract we have to win.
Our kids will be able to have futures like I've been able to do. They'll be able to raise their kids like I could raise my kids.
You work for your benefits. This is something that you deserve. Like I said, we're more than them. So we're the only ones that are going to decide what we really want.
As long as we're together, we can do it. As long as we have the same goal, focus, and morale, I think Atlantic City's going somewhere. As long as we stick together.
What we're here for today is to stand up for your human rights, for good health, and dignity, and respect. You understand that? We fought too hard for this. It's no going back, it's going forward, okay? No going back, it's going forward.
We are not going to allow a billionaire from New York come into Atlantic City and destroy the quality of life that everybody's fought for. Let's be joined together in prayer. Gracious God, send your Spirit upon us. Give us the courage that we need to sustain us in this fight. Give us the wisdom to negotiate carefully, to defend the rights of all of our community so that we might have a livable wage and have a community that's vibrant, can educate our kids, send them to good colleges. They can count on good jobs in the future. Lord, be with us. Strengthen us, we pray.
No giving up, no quit, stand strong.